Hey everyone, Retire on Dividends here. I want to make an update to my weekly status on my options trading and my swing trading. So let's get to it. Beforehand, what do I do with options? What's the point? So basically, I try to do the wheel strategy. So, I sell puts and I sell calls, and then I repeat the process. So, I made a video and I always attach it to the details of this video where I went over what you see on the screen, which is really just the basics of options, what it's all about. And then I touch over what this is. This is the wheel. You sell a put. If you get a sign, then you can sell a call. And then if you get a sign, you can sell a put again. So that's pretty much the wheel in a nutshell. But this shows the different results that could happen from selling puts and selling calls, which in the end results in this beautiful wheel right here. So if you're interested in more of the details behind, what I'm doing, what the basics of options trading is, you can just check out my options playlist, which is on my YouTube, or there should be some links under this video for the prior videos I made. All right, so let's get to it. As always, here are the option stocks that are on my list. Again, I don't trade any of these except TSLL, but these are just some very high implied volatility stocks that you could essentially trade. As you can see, TSLL is right here, and it has 110% IV, which is pretty high because it's 2x Tesla. So whatever Tesla does, it does the same thing 2 times. So that, same thing with the implied volatility, whatever is Tesla's implied volatility, it should be the same thing twice. So if Tesla is 55%, which it likely is, TSLL, as you can see, is 110%. All right, so let's get to what we did this week for options. So anything in gray was previous transactions that we do not need to cover. So we'll start from here. There was something in the middle. I sold a call originally on March 18th, and it had an expiration date of Friday, this past Friday, April 12th, and it was a strike for $9. I received 30 cents per share, which since each contract is 100 shares, I actually received $30. So in the end, if we look, when you sell a call, I have to basically sell my shares if TSLL ends up above the strike price of $9. So as of the close Friday, if I scroll down here, TSLL was at $7.59. So obviously $7.59 is below $9. So this call expired worthless. So if you can see on the status or the action, the end result is this transaction expired worthless. What does that mean? It just means the contract is up. I don't have to sell my shares for $9 because the time is up. So what I could do is I can sell calls now on those same 100 shares. I can sell another call and make more premium. All right, so what else happened? So I had 3 other contracts that were expiring on April 12th. One I sold originally. It started on March 28th, the other April 1st, the other April 2nd. Okay, these were all puts. And if you look, there's varying strike prices. I had an $8 strike, I had a $7.50 strike, and I had a $7 strike. So when you sell a put, basically you're committing to buying the shares at the strike price. All right. So how that would work is if TSLL closes below any of these strike prices on the expiration date, then I would have to buy those shares for the amount of the strike price per share. Obviously, for one contract, be 100 shares. So if you look, TSLL, again, what did it close at? It closed at $7.59. So is $7.59 below any of these strike prices? Is it below 7? No. Is it below 7.50? No, but it was pretty damn close. Is it below 8? Yes. So what does that mean? It means my put got assigned. So I have to buy, actually I already did, I bought 100 shares at $8 per share. Okay. So for my trouble, for all of those puts, as you can see, I got a premium per share, 42 cents, 25 cents, and 40 cents. Or shall we say $42, $25, and $40. So for the one, obviously I got assigned, yes, I still collect the premium, $42. I always get the premium up front. But now the 800, I had to shell out $800, like that's gone now. I originally had to put it up as collateral, which it sits in limbo until the contract is up. But since I actually got assigned, that 800, that goes to the buyer. So, they bought the call. So, again, they have the option to sell it, if it goes below. Typically, these are just market makers, though. It's not actually just people like you and I on the other side. Market makers are always in between. But either way, of course, they're going to sell me the shares at $8, right? Because it's below $8 right now. So obviously, yeah, they're going to make money on that. But I took that risk. Why did I take that risk? Well, because my current average at the time was at 860, I believe. So I was willing to buy more shares below my current average. And obviously $8 is below my current average. So what is the end result on those three puts? As we spoke, the top one got assigned and the bottom two expired worthless. So we talked about the top one. Obviously $800 is gone, but I own 100 more shares. And the bottom two, since they expired worthless, I get my money back. So I put up a collateral of $750 and $700. So that $1,450, that goes right back into my account. And then guess what? I can sell more puts. All right, so what else I got? So on the 5th, that was the week prior though, that I had a put that was pending. And for that one, I actually chose an even lower strike of $650. So that one looks to be safe. But again, we have a week left, so we shall see. I got premium per share of 30 cents per share. Now, for this past week, what did I do? I actually only sold calls because there were some green days in Tesla, which means TSLL was green times 2, twice as much. So at the time, the first call, TSLL was at 780. And since my average was around, I think it was around 860 or whatever, I was willing to do a strike of 850. I said, why not? It's 10 cents. I'll do it. Typically, whatever my average is, I'm going to sell calls, for the shares that I own at the cost basis or above. Obviously, if it's 10 cents away, that's not a big deal, especially if the premium's worth it. So the premium I got for that was 27 cents a share or $27. And obviously, the return on investment was 3.46%. I put that I fronted 780 because that's the price, essentially, at the time of the time I sold the call. Income per day is $2.45. Return on investment per day, 0.31%, and annualized, that's 114%. And then guess what? TSLL continued to go up. So the next day, I sold another call. This time I chose a higher strike. I said, why not? I'll go higher. At the time, it's 10.16% out of the money. But I only got 21 cents per share, or $21 as a whole. So the return on investment for that was 2.57%. Income per day was $2.10. ROI is 0.26%, and annualized yield is 93.82%. So overall for the week, I really only made $48 because this other stuff was done on the prior weeks. So, that's where we stand. So going into next week, we have only 3 contracts open, and they are 1 put and 2 calls. So we shall see what happens. And again, I trade TSLL because this is now my Tesla exposure since I sold Tesla. I figured I'd rather just do it myself because I was not happy with how Tesla trades, based on how the yield max funds, how they handle their trades. I figured I could, I'm more comfortable doing doing it myself with my own money because I think I can yield a little more, to be honest. And plus, it's fun. Honestly, doing options is fun. So in Tesla, I don't mind following it. It's so crazy. It's such a crazy stock. So as long as, I hold the proper amount of cash on the side, I think I can make some money and have this work out. But time will tell. I could really screw it up and lose a lot of money, or I could really do well. So far, so good, though. All right, so where do we stand for holdings? Well, I got assigned the 100 shares, as I mentioned, with a strike price of $8, okay? So these are the 100 shares I got assigned prior. As you can see, the first one was $9.50, so that's ridiculous. That's really high as of right now. And then $9, and then $8.50, and then $8 3 times. So the average strike price was $8.50. So to me, my cost basis is $8.50 per share. Some people consider their cost basis is what they get assigned for minus what the premium credit. But I don't want to do that. I want to keep the premium and just consider what I actually had to pay for it. So I do put both just to consider all things. But as you can see, I consider now all of my shares at $8.50, as if I bought it at $8.50. Even though yes, it's going to be first in, first out. So when I do sell a call and it gets assigned, the first out is going to be the $9.50 average. So technically, if I sell it at, let's just say $8.50, that's a loss of $1 per share. But the last one, the $8, the 3 for $8, when I sell them for $8.50, it'll be a gain of 50 cents, per share for all of them. Hopefully that makes sense. But so yeah, once these all go, then I'll restart my cost basis from there. But for now, my cost basis is $8.50 for all of these until they all sell. All right, so I have one thing to note: Tesla earnings is not next week, but it's the week after. So if I go back to these options, how many calls do I have pending? I have 2 calls that are open. Okay. But I own 600 shares. So I can do 4 more contracts since I have 400 shares remaining. So my plan for next week is hopefully Tesla can turn a little green. And if it does, I'm just going to sell calls through earnings, which would be essentially to the next Friday. Not this coming Friday, but the Friday after that. Because if you sell options, if you sell calls or sell puts through earnings, you're going to get more premium because it's very volatile. And it's volatile because it's unpredictable what's going to happen with the stock, at earnings. And that goes for any stock. Typically, most stocks are, they have a much higher implied volatility when it comes to, getting closer to earnings and especially during and through earnings. So if you pick an expiration date that is over the period of an earnings call, then you'll get more premium, but it's very risky. So obviously if I sell a call for $8.50 and TSLL is trading at, let's just say $8, and then it jumps to say $9 or $10, I still have to sell my shares for $8.50. So that's the risk to take. But at the same time, if I sell the calls and TSLL tanks, then guess what? I collect premium and those contracts expire worthless, and then I get to sell more calls. All right, let's move on. So how much income did I earn this week? $48. I think I already mentioned this. Capital needed, again, when I say capital needed, when I sell calls, it's basically I use the price of the ETF that I've traded at that very point in time. So at the very point in time, the total was $15.97 as a whole. I don't want to use the total, the call value that I'm selling, the strike price. I'm using the actual value of the stock, the underlying, but for the the actual trade price. Sorry about that. I know I'm probably confusing you on that one, but to me it makes sense. All right, so what am I yielding? 3.01%. So that's pretty good. It's not a big week, only $48. It's actually very low, but I didn't want to go crazy. I wanted to preserve some of my shares for the calls through earnings. Although I did not know I'd get assigned on one of the puts this week because TSLL was actually trading up. But since it tanked on Friday, obviously I did get a sign, so it's okay. So now I have 400 more shares to sell calls on next week. But guess what? If TSLL continues to go down, I'm not going to be able to sell calls. So I will have to sell more puts, which is kind of unfortunate because then I'm going to be getting a little top heavy on TSLL. I didn't plan on buying 600 shares. And I certainly don't want to buy like 800 to 1,000 shares. But if it comes down to that, then so be it. But, again, time will tell. All right. So anyway, that's how much I made for the week, $48. So how much did I make so far? Premium income, $511. I don't know why I didn't move total. Okay, there you go. Dividend income, $31.43. Total income since I started, $542.53. Now, again, this is just like running the numbers. All right, so if I play with options, if I actually use all 20,000 and I can use my average rate of return of 209,000, again, that's based on, again, weekly, which I don't know if I can count that, to be honest. So, because I take that rate of return, what do? B2 times B3, and that's an annualized income of, well, no, it's actually right, because I get the rate of return now from here, and this annualized is an actual true annualized because it does take income per day based on execution date, and expiration date difference. So never mind, this 209% is actually legit. So that being said, if I use $20,000 to trade options and I continue to use it and I yield 209%, I can make $41,000 a year, which is monthly $3,400 or almost $3,500, or weekly $807. So again, that's pretty good. So in time, I'm gonna trade. I'm gonna do options at 20,000. But at this very moment, obviously you see what I'm doing. You see how much I'm playing around with capital needed. I'm only messing around each week with anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000. One week I got up to 3,500, but I'm not messing around with 20,000 every week. Because sometimes some trades go over multiple weeks because they have to in order to get a respectable premium. So it's a little hard to trade $20,000 per week. If I can get it maybe up to 5,000, that would even be some good income. All right, so that's my update on my options journey. I hope that made sense, but I'm really excited for next week. I have a feeling, based on last week, maybe people oversold, so maybe we should expect some green days next week. And if we do, then I could definitely sell some calls at 850. Probably across earnings. If I have the opportunity, I'll do some for this Friday too. But that's not likely unless Tesla really goes up. But either way, if I have to, yes, I'll sell more puts, which as I mentioned, is unfortunate because then I'll have to. I take the risk of getting assigned even more shares. So obviously I'm at 600 at the moment. So the other part of the wheel is not executing, right? I'm selling calls. Nothing is selling because Tesla is not going up. So since it's not selling, I can only just continue to sell calls. And obviously, if my average is not respectable enough, I have to continue to also sell puts to lower my average. Okay, I know that's a lot, but I really do hope it makes sense. It makes sense to me, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it, and I'm trying to track it. But if there's something missing here in the data that you think would be more helpful to you, let me know. All right, that was a long update. Swing trades, I'll try to do this a little quicker. So again, these are all of the leveraged ETFs that I trade with. So what is my strategy with swing trading? Well, it's very simple, to be honest. So here's the strategy. If any of these go down 5% or more on any given day, and I do not own them, then I will buy approximately $500 worth. Okay? Whatever that comes to. And then if that same ETF the following day, guess what? If it dips again, at least I'll say, there's no particular number, but let's just say 2 to 3%. Then guess what? I'm going to buy 500 more shares and average down. And then I will repeat this process until this ETF flips the other way, and then I'm green in profit. And then when I sell, I can either sell them in the same 500 piece gap, however many shares that was, or I can sell them all at once and take the profit right away. So we'll get into that detail in a second. So TSLT, here's what happened. I was getting very top heavy because I was buying this from March 13th. Let me zoom in a little. Very windy. I don't know if you guys hear that. So I was buying it from March 13th all the way through April 5th. And I had way too many shares, right? Way too many shares. So what I decided to do, I got green. So I had an opportunity to sell all of my shares and take a profit, because at the time my average cost basis was 1018, and TSLT, which is a Rec Shares double leverage fund for Tesla, was at 1144. So I sold all of my shares at that point in time for 1144, and I took a profit. Well, I'll have to highlight to see what the profit is. Profit of $503 this week. So I made $503 this week on TSLT. And then guess what? The CPI report came out the next day, and TSLT went down with the whole market. So I bought more at 1054, again, after selling it for 1144. And then the next day it went down again, and I bought more for 1029. So as you can see, 50 shares is approximately $500. So the 50 shares I bought on 410 was $527. The 50 shares I bought on 411 was $514. So my average cost basis right now is 1042. So guess what? If TSLT tanks on Monday, I'm going to buy 50 more shares. If TSLT skyrockets on Monday, I'm going to sell 50 shares, or I could consider selling all 100 shares. It depends. If it stays flat, then I'll do nothing. All right, CONL, this is a double leverage Coinbase fund. This one's crazy for sure. I started buying, which I probably should have waited, to be honest. I bought it 81.41, and then the next day it tanked. I bought 5 more shares. Again, 5 shares originally was around $407, but then another 5 shares, $73 cost basis. So it dropped. The next day, not the next day, but on April 1st, I had to buy 5 more shares because it tanked, $67. And then the next day, 5 more shares, $61. And then the next day, 63 was up, but it was still way below my cost basis. So I am at a $69.70 average cost basis on this very fund. I should probably put what it actually what the cost is at this very point in time, what the closing price is. But either way, all of these 25 shares of CONL they are active. So, and I'm considering myself slightly top heavy, slightly. So if I do come in the profit, I will probably sell all of my shares and then start over again. All right, TQQQ, pretty easy week. I originally had owned 5 shares at 58. Hold on, this average is not picking up properly, but this average should have picked, doesn't matter. I own them at 58.02, and I sold them for 60.79. So I made a quick profit this week on TQQQ of 13.87. SOXL, this week I saw an opportunity to buy some more, so I currently own 20 shares with a cost basis of 42.85. SOXL is one of my favorites. It trades pretty good. All right, so what happened on Apple? Well, Apple's been tanking, and I've been buying. So I got to a point where I was slightly top heavy, and I was in a profit. My average was at 20.42, and AAPX got to 21.55. So you know what? I said, screw it. I'm taking my profit, and I'm running. So my total profit on this one was $140.86. So if AAPX Dips next week. Guess who's buying? Me. All right, TNA. How do we do this week? Well, we bought. We bought more shares this week. We bought 20 more shares. So currently I own 30 shares of TNA with an average cost basis of $37.81. MSFX, what did we do this week? Nothing. But we still own 40 shares at $29.50. It's okay to do nothing, right? It'll just sit there. That's fine. NUGT, we also did nothing. NVDX, okay. This one I consider for sure top heavy. And this one also scares me, to be honest, because as you know, NVIDIA traded or is trading towards 52-week highs. So I need NVDX to flip this around, to turn green. And as soon as I see, at least I'll say, I'm going to go with 5%. 5% profit as a whole, not individual shares, as a whole, I'm going to sell all of my shares and take the profit and then restart over. It's only because I consider myself top heavy, because look how many batches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 batches. 7 times 500 is essentially could be, around $3,500. Which again, based on what I'm using, I was planning on using like $20,000. So 3,500 on one individual ETF, that's a little high. So I'm at the point where I'm not going to sell out slowly. I'm going to sell out all at once. Take my profit and then restart. And that's okay. Same thing with this one, man. I'm way too top heavy. And I just kept buying and buying and buying. I bought 20 more shares this week. So now I own what? I've owned about 35 shares. So again, this one is very, very top heavy. The 40 on the bottom includes the 5 that I closed. So yeah, I own 35 shares. So same thing with this one. As soon as I flip to a profit on DPST, bye shares, restart. All right, TMF, how we doing there? Again, a little top heavy, getting close. I own 5 batches, 50 shares with a cost basis of $49.40. So this one I'm probably going to sell all of them too when I get the opportunity. And guess what? Another top heavy one, 5 batches, so 25 shares at a $114.42 price. That's for Labu. ERT. This has 4 batches, so not too bad. I bought some shares this week, so I own 40 shares at $45.65. We'll see how that goes. Gooks. All right, so Gooks, obviously this is Google. I only bought this was on April 4th I bought it, but this week I sold what I bought, which was the cost basis of $27.78. I sold it for $29.31, made a quick profit, $22.95. Obviously, I haven't been mentioning the gains, but a gain of 5.51%. All right, Bit2. This was one I just bought the other week, and then guess what? I had an opportunity to sell it, and I made a really good profit, 11.19%. I made a profit of $42.14. I know, like you guys are saying, that's nothing, but $42 for doing what? Buying and selling the stock. That's to me, that's great, right? I made a lot of money this week. Yin, I was always hesitant. This is the Chinese one. I was hesitant to start a position, but I said, you know what? Screw it. So I did buy 25 shares because Yin was down. It was down like 8 or 10%. But of course, an hour later, it went down to like 13. It was down 13%. So I'm like, oh, damn. I did it too early. But either way, start a position in Yin. All right. So total profit. This is total profits. But either way, total profits as a whole, since I started on January 25th, I have made $2,515.54. I started tracking what I was making when I started January 25th through March 31st. At that point, I made $1,697.40. And so far for the month of April, I have made $818.14. Keep in mind, for me, this swing trading that I do, it's in a Roth. It's in a Roth account. It's in a Roth 401k, which will soon to be a Roth IRA when I convert it. But either way, it's a Roth. So I'm not going to have to pay taxes on this money. But the idea is the Roth, as mentioned in previous videos, that's my retiring on dividends portfolio. So half of it is doing what's intended to produce me income, when I retire. Some high risk, some medium risk, some low risk, etc. But the other half of the money, guess what? I'm going to make more money because my wife, this is my wife's 401k, she's no longer working. So there's no income going into that 401k. So the idea is this swing trading is now that income. So look at it. Look at April already. I just put $818 more to work just by swing trading. Taking this basic strategy, this no thinking involved. You see red. I talked about what to do in the beginning. It drops 5%, you buy it. Okay, if it drops again, you buy more. If it drops again, you buy more. All right, it flips to a profit, sell it, move on. You don't fall in love. You move on, you take your profit, and you leave. Even if it's $20, even if it's $10. Again, it's simple. It's simple stuff. And since I'm pretty top heavy, if next week flips green, this April income could really look good. And as time goes on, I'm going to be using more and more money for this. So my top heavy number won't be, it won't be so quick to fill. Not to mention, I do have way too many stocks that I use, but to me, the more opportunity I show, okay, that just gives me, okay, so say something's down 5%, but there's another one down 10%. Obviously, I'm going to buy the 10% if I had, one option. So I want the opportunity for any of these, right? These are all different types of ETFs too. So to me, I'm covering like almost every aspect, which by the way reminds me, if you guys have any others that are not on this list, please send them to me. I'm interested in 2 to 3x leverage funds. Of course, I'll take 4x if you have it. I'm not shy. I'm not scared about 4x or 5x. Bring it on, baby. Let's go. So yeah, let's make some money. Let's swing trade. So hopefully that made sense. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these videos, these updates for my options trading and swing trading. Obviously, my swing trading seems to be much more profitable at the moment. But again, I'm using more money on the swing trading than I am for the options overall. Plus, I'm taking much, much more risk, at least in my opinion, for the swing trading versus the options. And it has worked out well. And of course, something bad can happen, right? I could get stuck. It could be a bear market for one of these for months. And if that happens, guess who's going to be way too top heavy? This guy right here. This guy you don't see, but he's yapping. And I know that's part of the risk. That's very, it's an unfortunate part of the risk, but it is. So if it happens, it happens. So be it. I'll make money on the others. But either way, as always, guys, this is not financial advice. Do not do what I'm doing. Do what you want to do, okay? Just, take my videos are really for just to share my journey, but they're, just take them as fun and entertainment. So hopefully you are having fun and you were entertained. And at the same time, if you learn a thing or two and you take that and then you do your own strategy, hopefully it works out for you. But again, this is just something that I'm doing. I figured it's worth sharing. This is my options wheel strategy, and the options wheel strategy, by the way, that's in a taxable, so that I'll have to pay taxes on that income. But the swing trading, that's in the Roth. If I could, I would move the swing trading to the taxable. But again, I have this money. It's stuck. You know how I feel about retirement accounts. Go check out my 401k video if you do not, because it is what it is. But anyway, I gotta go. Long day. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this update. If you did, please let me know, because these types of videos actually, they're my lowest view videos. But hopefully things turn around, because I really think this is good stuff here. There's a lot of opportunities out there. So if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to hit the like button. If you have any questions, concerns, or just want to leave a comment, please do down below. And outside of that, that's all I got. And then tomorrow, just, for the Yield Max, viewers, I will get my prediction out for YMAX and YMAG. Of course, I think I'll try Oldie. And then I'll do my Defiance update. All right. Typical weekend, obviously. Anyway, I'm out of here. Hope you guys have a good Saturday night or whatever. Good weekend whenever you guys watch this. Enjoy your day. Later.